好的。
好。
我哦，他的车来了。他的车来了，他的
好，
车队来了。
太好了，太好了。对
哦，好的。
对，那我现在已经把你就是我们的这个油管也打开了。那你现在呢？我要先给大家介绍一下哈。我们今天呢，就是Gary 呀、昨天我们也做了连线哈。Gary 呢，他真的是一个挺川战士他昨天晚上呢半夜就开车出发，然后到这个现场。因为为了能够进到这个现场里面，因为之前呢，昨天我们做节目的时候呢，他就没有办法进到里面了，因为到的时间已经晚了。昨天呢，他就半夜出发哈，今天呢已经到了现场里面，而且有一个非常好的位置，那他呢就可以很好的为我们这个展现今天的这个可以说是川普的一个历史性的一个这样的一个演讲哈，个离大选只有2天的。这样的一
哎，
个竞选演讲。对，那现在 Gary 你就给大家。
大家好，大家好。这边比较吵哈，那我就把镜头转过来现在大家都有川普总统的车队啊，他没有在这个机场降落。然后呢，他的车队浩浩荡荡，大家可以看到，前面有摩托警。我把镜头再拉远一点。现在转播哈，你看这是我第一次哈，浩浩荡荡几十辆几十几十辆车，大家看到了吗？然后前面
对。
有十几个摩托警在前面然后后面的话大概有十几辆这个防弹车然后一系列浩浩荡荡的哈。他没有在这个机场，是在另外一个机场降落以后才过来的。对，看这时候的这个特勤局的 sniper 已经在这个车等候很多了哈。哇哦，哇，这个太棒了，这个镜头。可是呃，你看
对，我尽可能不说话，因为一说话把这个镜头就切到我。
OK OK，大家看一下。我这好多很好的镜头哇。我再用另外一个相机再拍一些。
小心别把电用光了。
OK，好，这样的。
对，你的镜头尽可能稳一
哦，
点。
在这边
尽可能。
看，大家看到了，总
嗯。
统的车队已经过来。然后他都会从我前边的这个帐篷里边，这个帐篷进去，所以大家会看到
哇，你
我这
这个位置
我这位置是
太好了。
绝佳的位置。
太棒了。
这个位置也是最危险的位置，因为上次枪击案在7月13号就是在我这个位置的一个人中枪了。但是
是的。
我仍然有勇气和胆量站到这个位置。
你太棒了，你太棒了。嗯，咱们把
因为
帐篷。
川普总统为了，而且他在中枪了以后转，他仍然会再回到那个同样一个地方。
对。嗯。
这时候呢，sniper 就很谨慎，用他的望远镜在观周围的情况。这也是一个在他下车的一瞬间，是不是最危险的？我们可以到那边，这边的房顶上也有两个 sniper 一组，那边的话也有2组在那边。然后这是他的舞台。舞
嗯。
台上呢是三面都有玻璃的。然后
嗯。
呢，在右侧，我现在是面向东面。然后亮的大灯后面是很多几十个电视台的记者。然后比较危险的是那边的话，那个古桑的阿米士人的经济区。但是我用我的那个超级 zoom 往那边拍了，但是没有看到可疑的人。
嗯。
然后，这时候车都停到前面，然后大家可能再走下来。
太棒了。对，
对。
位置
然后
太好了。
对对，这时候那些州长和一些名人，宾州都已经讲完话了，所以说就在大家有半个小时的时间都在等。
对。
呃等大家。对，另外那个也是个水塔。那么在7月13号的那个有人说有一车枪声在那里边，有一个 sniper。
嗯。
对。然后所以现在这个一个特勤局的 sniper 狙击手在观察这个
对。
高处。
这次
对，
看起来这个安保布局的比以前好。
安保做的非常好了。对，因为跟昨天的不同，昨天是在一个室内，相对来说比较安全，而这是个开阔的地方，
对，
所以说相对来说比较危险。远处的那个看那个山，大概我目测的距离大概有1.5公里到2公里左右，所以那些像阿比什人的那个农庄的上面是当时也是危险，但是我知道可能特警已经在那些都排查过了。
嗯
如果说他们在现在这个 sniper 用的是加拿大产的一种狙击步枪，可以
嗯
打到2000多米。在10年前左右，在阿富汗一个加拿大的 sniper 创造一个记录，2412米击杀了那个塔利班。
嗯嗯对呀，你对这方面是非常的有研究的，对，
对，
给观众讲一讲。那还有就是有没有看到这个阿米什人来参加这个集会呢？
其他的人我就是有一个好像印度的一个医生吧，
就是阿米
就是
什人。
他在竞选州长还是参议员忘了，就是州长。所以这边当然你看，这边路边上也有一些人在这边驻足。
我问的是阿米什人。
哦，没有看到阿米什人，没有看到那些穿着阿米什的衣服的那些阿米什人，没有
嗯
看到。所以
嗯
尽管这个地方离他们后边的那些山，那都是他们的阿米什区比较近在咫尺。因为今天是礼拜天，那么阿米什人据我所知，他们正在聚会。等一下我结束的时候，有可能会看到街上会有一个很壮观的景象，可能会有几十个阿米什人，他们赶着这个马车，穿着大概17、18世纪的当时的那种袍子服装，
对对。
然后在街上走，因为他们没有教堂，所以他们都轮流，你看这些都是 USA，他们在喊 USA，大家都
嗯
翘首期待。
对。今天川普有几场演讲？
对，所以我们往回拉一下，然后
嗯
因为这个帐篷可能是他可能会在那边进去，从那里进去，然后从这帐篷走进来。对，
嗯
那么很快川普总统就会出来。
嗯。那今天川普是安排了3场演讲是吗？
对的，是的，等一下还要下午还要去另外2个地方，北卡一个地方好像对，对，今天是安排十
下午一场，
点半的。
晚上一场，是。
对对对，安排10点半来的。我以为他的飞机会降落，其实刚刚看到那个蓝色的飞机不是他的飞机，是他可能是他的随从人员的一个飞机，然后他是降落在另外一个机场，然后这个浩浩荡荡的这个车队来了。对，也包括后边有一些那个 emergency 的救护的车辆和一些特检一些车辆。对，
走。
嗯，看到这边，大家看这边有2个特警从一个这个车上，他们出来，全副武装。
嗯
嗯，但这个2个 sniper 他们在这儿已经待了很久，不停的用望远镜，然后再观察一些可疑的地方，一些制高点。所以上次川普总统就是在类似的这种场合遭到枪击的，所以他在看这个望远镜在看，估计是看那边的水塔，然后这边的也有，所以我的感觉还是比较安全的。然后
嗯嗯。
这次跟上次不同，它已经装了防弹玻璃，你看大家可以看到它的前边。
是的，这个地方对，3面是玻璃，那后面怎么办呢？没有玻璃挡着，
什么？
它只有3面是有玻璃的，那后面怎么办？
呃，后面的话，对，它的前面，它的右侧两侧2个玻璃，前后都有。然后我就是在它的后边的那个，就是前面玻璃挡着，然后前面应该是这个前面是直接保险门起来的。那么我担心是在它的左侧，担心左侧没有玻璃，而且左侧的就这个地方相对来讲，这个地方引申过去大概有2公里左右，前面有几个阿米轩的这谷仓。
嗯
对，这些制高点。
嗯。
然后
还是不够。
然后还有这个机场前边的一些荒地。嗯，当然我猜测可能那个地方都有 都会有警察和特勤局的人员。
嗯，你们进来的时候对你们有什么样的检查？
对，所以现在大家都在正在翘首以待，等到看到他从这个帐篷里出来。对
我想问，你们进到这个场地的时候，有没有什么检查？
有检查，有检查，你可以看到远处那个
嗯
哦，像这边的 Dream Big，我们有两个，一个是 Trump 说Trump will fix，川普将会修复这个 garbage people 这个 Harris 和拜登这个 administration 留下来的烂摊子。对，
嗯
这一个新的一个口号。嗯，
嗯。
哇，嗯，这边是由一些起重机搭起来的一个临时的场地，然后有很多那种高音喇叭。那
对。
么兰卡斯特作为这个阿米什人集中的地方，据说大概有5万5千到6万多个阿米什人。阿米
嗯嗯
什人是美国人的一支很特别的，他们他们之间然后生活在我们后边这一群的这种群山，还有这些丘陵地带，每个家庭大概有40到80英亩，平均有8个孩子。他们就是穿着大概17、18世纪的衣服，不用电，不用手机用马车，他们用那个退役的赛马，然后他们都是虔诚的基督徒，他们都是毕业一间房小学，只有最多读到8年级，他们就不再读了。然
嗯
后，是一个农耕的一个很特别的和的一群人，但是他
嗯
们都就是白人基督徒，来自200多年，来自这个瑞士和德国，所以他们会说一个德语，但是每个也都说过流利的英语。对，
嗯。我
然后
去过这个地方，我是去年去的，去年的年初去到这个滨州，也去到这个兰卡斯特这个地方，看到了很多阿米什人啊，开车到他们的农庄啊，他们工作的地方，哇，非常的
嗯，
那里的就是农场非常的漂亮。
是的，然后所以说阿米什人他们有另外一个很特，他们不去投票，所以呢呃所以现在我听说我们来自新泽西纽约有100多个义工，他们在宾州的各个角落然后他们甚至到阿米什人去挨家挨户的推票
嗯
然后所以说阿米什人30万人，但也许如果有一半人15万人是他们拥有投票资格的话，那么将足够能够让宾州能够翻红。
嗯嗯。那这个地
对，
方，川普以前来过吗？以前就是上一次就是
上一次在10月20号的时候，我去宾州的另外一个叫兰卡斯的另外一个可能就是它的 Civic Center 这样，而这个是在它的一个小机场，所以好多叫机场的话呢是相对来说比较开阔，
嗯
它的优点的话就是说可以聚集很多人，因为这
嗯
种小城市没有太大的，像昨天那个场合只有6000人，而今天的这个场合我感觉也有这儿1万到1万5千人，1万多人应该有。所以
嗯
说如果是昨天的话，今天的话就几乎是全部能进去了，对，都能进去，只是后面的人来的就比较远啊。
嗯。
然后我们早来的人是可以两边的看台，而且我这是最高的一个看台，就在总统后面的这个看台，
对。
所以我特意挑这个看台，我就想可以看到这个总统的车队，还有
嗯
这些狙击手，还有后面的那些宾州的一些本地的一些政治人物，他们刚刚都有讲话。
嗯。现在就是期待川普总统
对，
上讲。
今天跟昨天的天气都差不多，很晴朗。然
嗯。
后，但是滨州这边会比较冷一点。
我
对，
看人们穿的衣服和昨天不一样，昨天很多人
是是是，
穿短袖，今天都穿长袖了。
是的，就是大家你看都举着一排 Dream Big Again 啊，然后或者 Trouble will be fixed，大家
嗯
都在喊 USA。我从来没听到这个哈里斯的支持者在喊 USA 哈这样，而且他们也很少去拿国旗，
嗯，对，他们
他们
根本没有国旗，也
对他们可以烧国旗，他
美
纵容那些
国。
一
嗯，
些年轻人很极端的去烧美国国旗，而
对
且还向这些恐怖分子这些黑名贵安理法的人去下跪。佩洛西大家都忘了吗？佩
对对，
洛西以前咱们这个
给
装模作样的向那些
下跪，
弗洛伊德来下跪，这个
跪下跪。
劣迹斑斑的这个呃罪犯，只是在反抗警察的时候，无意中他自己本身有新冠又吸毒，把他这个弄死了。
嗯，等一下，那个阿美食人聚会完了之后，他们有没有可能来到这个集会呢？
阿米什人不，我觉得不太可能。那么，因为他今天是礼拜天，阿米什人我知道他们都很虔诚，雷打不动的，都会挨家挨户的，他们会聚集在一起来，然后会在一起做一个礼拜。他们往往那个阿米什人其实蛮富有，然后他们因为每家有几十亩地，所以他们种植了这个玉米，种植了烟草，还有一些大豆，还牧草。然后呢，另外阿米什人他们也养一些鸡鸭，所以他们也会卖一些鸡蛋、鸭蛋等等农副产品。那所以呢，阿米什人都有耕地嘛，也种，所以他们还养奶牛。所以为什么那个戈尔西好时巧克力就在附近？因为很多是阿米什人源源不断的新鲜的牛奶
嗯。
的缘故。这里边离赫尔西巧克力公司其实很近的，只有大概开车半个小时的车程。对，
这里还有一个，这附近还有一个美国最大的一个 buffet 是吗？就是自助餐厅。
最大的一个，这边当然它有一些有果啡，但我不知道是不是最大的。
嗯
应该不会，因为最大的地方果啡它会有很多人口，这里的人口基数并不是很大，而且比较分散。
嗯
对，兰卡斯特的话，当然这个我看到很多像今天来的话，就是亚裔比较少，
嗯
然后大概都是本地的这个白人，黑人也是有，但是比较少，像
嗯
西裔也不多。对，所以呃其实宾州的这个本土的这些呃这个共和党的基本盘还是蛮多的，但是呢，民主党用他们很多这种外援啊，这些所谓的阴谋诡计，引进了很多这些非法移民，然后他们会突然在大选的时候被安插到很多地方，有的放矢的，对，是防不胜防。
嗯，是的。哎，
那么我猜测总统来了以后，他还是要过来，比如说要穿防弹背心啦，或者说可能要跟这些人再讲讲话的，然后再进去。对，
嗯，是，
嗯，
就是他已
我
经。
我想现在这个时候，他总统像那个黑色的车就是他的车，我想是他的雪佛兰防弹车
嗯
Suburban 然后他会走下车以后，马上就从这个白色的帐篷进去，然
嗯
后穿过这个旗，哦，所以大家都在翘首以盼，等着他的出现。
嗯，
嗯，
这个现场你觉得
这个
多少人？
什么？
现场啊，有多少人？
呃，估计的话，我估计的话，目测，在最里边能够坐在台阶上，应该有几千人，然
嗯
后然后外边的话也有差不多，这应该有1万多人。今年
嗯，
的人应该没有我惊讶那次这么多，因为在滨州已经体现过大型很多次了。
是的。
当然我问了跟我一起走进来的一些人，他们说好几个人是第一次来，所以
嗯，
说就是像地毯式的轰炸，川普
对。
的在这滨州下地的功夫。你想想，我10月20号我来这边，今天又来这里，那么10月4号还会去 Reading 就是也是相对来说在滨州比较大的城市，在这北部，
嗯
还有一场，所以直到11月4号，就到选前的一天，所以川普总非常非常拼，对。
太拼了，
在
真的
在
钢铁侠。
对，在这个感召下，所以昨天我也跟你说，我说我一定要来这边。尽管
嗯
昨天晚上结束也7、8点钟了，然后我又开回3个多小时，开回Fairfax，然后我就洗个澡，稍微休一下，我就连夜就赶过来。对，争取呢这次能够进来，
嗯
而且能够坐在前面，非常不容易的。
嗯，对，是的，这要花很，每一次你看我以前去参加川普的 rally，就是一整天的时间，可以说是啊，要提前5、6个小时，甚至于7、8个小时要到现场啊。
对对，大家看一看，这辆车就是川普的车，防弹车。你看它后面的玻璃会很厚，对，很厚。它是一个 Suburban 特别改的。然后另外它的还有一些这个天线，可能有些屏蔽，一些很很特别的一辆车，对，看起来尺寸跟一般 Suburban 稍微大一点点，但是它确实肯定是经过改装，它的玻璃、它的那个钢板都比一般要厚，甚至轮胎都是特别的。嗯。当时会有好几辆车，同样大概3、4辆车，但是很多时候一个长车队一般都不知道到底这个到底是哪辆车。对，
专门就是有这种迷惑性，让人们不知道目标在哪里。嗯。
是的。哇哦，太主意好。
哦，丈夫要来啦！哇，看所有的人都举着手机。
哇，那边的人已经看到了，那边已经看到了。
嗯，那个
哇哇哇，都
走向
要挡住了。
讲台，我已经看到了，我看到他戴着红色的帽子。
哇，大家看到后边，
对，
他都挡住了。
对，但是我刚才已经看到了，没关系，我都看到川普戴着红色的帽子走上台了，走上这个地毯。对，你看，现在我们就看得很清楚了，
哇，
穿着大衣，很帅呀。哎呀，太棒了！川普，你看穿这个衣服很帅，而且真的是马不停蹄啊！昨天3场，今天3场，明天4场，这么一个，而且这么精力充沛，就是说他没有疲惫的样子啊，这么精力充沛，实在是太了不起了。就是你无法想象这么一个将要80岁的老人，他可以这样子做啊！你看，真的是神选之人，这别人有人就跟他把他比作这个摩西呀。Gary，你还是要把这个什么，就是如果有音乐的话，有管人会说我们侵权的，对，就不能有音乐，要把这个什么，你的这个什么给插上，你的耳机要插上。嗯，等到川普演讲的时候，再把耳机给他打开。现在是整个现场都在唱这个上帝保佑美国是吧？整个这个现场在上 这个大家都在唱《上帝保佑美国》。对，这个歌是可以说这个人写这个歌的人，他也是支持川普的，经常在川普的这个 rally 上来现场的演唱这首歌，而且可以让川普来用这首歌，因为有些人他们有些那个歌星什么的，他们就不让川普用他们的歌，对吧？嗯，哎，Gary。等到这个歌完了之后哈，你把你的这个机呀打开，就可以听到我们就可以听到川普总统的演讲。
那么那么看到前边还有一个女性的那个特勤局的安保人员。
嗯。哦，Gary，你把你的这个你的这个耳机打开，
我的耳机拿开。
从这个手机上打开。
你说我的耳机从哪里拿开？
从手机上看视频打开。
哦，现在可以吗？
因为我们要听川普总统的演讲的话，哎，现在
对，那么我们听。那么
还是不行，你要把你的耳机从你的手机上给它分开。
OK， 好的。
嗯。
Kamala broke it, and we will fix it. 现在呢？
现在
可以吗？
Better, bolder,
好
richer,
谢
safer, and stronger than ever before. The election
对，
is
好
a
了，
choice between whether we will have 4 more
好了
years of incompetence
Okay.
and failure, which is what we have right now, or whether we will begin the 4 greatest years of our country.
有点晃，但是你能有一种很强的现场感、身体静的感觉，沉浸式的体验。当然，你看这些这么多的举牌子，
嗯，
But that's hard to believe because we have been so with that. So the image of our country is terrible. It's terrible. It's a failed country. That's what it is.
那这边有很多摄影记者。
The U.S. as a
但是川普的声
nation
音
in
还是听得不
decline,
清
of
楚。
course, the U.S. as a failed country would turn.
什么不
The
清楚？
image is so bad.
川普的
What
声音
they've
啊，
done to our country.
我把我的耳机关掉。
What
对，
they've done
耳
to
机
our
要关掉，要
so damn bad, and the media is so damn bad.
好了。
Every problem facing us can be solved, but the fate of our nation is in your hands. On Tuesday, you have to stand up and you have to go. You gotta just go out and you gotta stand up. We've done this for so long. This is 9 years. We have to get out. But you have to tell that horrible, terrible, the worst ever vice president. Nobody knows where the other guy is. Where the hell is he? Where the hell did he go, David? Where is he? Nobody knows where the hell. Where's Mike? We used to go, where's Hunter? Now we go, where the hell is Biden? Where's Joe? You know, when you think they stole the election. It was just, they walked in, they said, you're out. Right? That's a threat to democracy. They call me threat to democracy. They stole the election from this guy. Whether you like him or not, they stole the election. They walked in, they said, get out of here, Joe, you're out. You're dead, you're out, Joe. And man, oh man, he likes me better than he likes her, I believe. And you have to tell Kamala that you've had enough, Kamala. You've had enough. You're the worst ever. Kamala, you're fired. You know, it's amazing. I watched her yesterday. She's saying all these things she's going to do when she gets to office. First of all, she's got 3 more months. But more importantly, why the hell didn't she do this stuff before? First of all, none of it did she believe in. None of it. She's changed 15 different policies. She's a radical left Marxist. And if she ever heads this country is finished. And I say it loud and clear. Everything we've been fighting for so hard to achieve for the past 9 years all comes down to the next 2 days. Think of it. We've worked in this for 9 years, and we got a phony press. We got a lot of crooked people out there. We're fighting like a son of a gun. We're fighting. They are fighting so hard to steal this damn thing. Look at what's going on. Look at what's going on in your state. Every day, they're talking about extending hours and stuff. Who ever heard of this stuff? We should have 1 day voting and then I just heard that a couple of states may go an extra 12 days. How the hell do you have an election? You know, they spend all of this money on exam machines and paper ballots. You'd have the answer by 9 o'clock tonight. It's a damn shame. And I'm the only one that talks about it because everyone's afraid to damn talk about it. And then they accuse you of being a conspiracy theorist. Who's a conspiracy? And they want to lock you up. They want to put you in jail. The ones that should be locked up are the ones that cheat on these horrible elections that we go through in our country. And I don't know what's going to happen, but for future elections, I won't be even a part of it. But you ought to damn well go to paper ballots. You ought to go to voter ID. Yes, and you ought to have the election over by 9 o'clock. I'm hearing now they're going to take weeks. Can you imagine? They spend all this money on machines, and they're going to say, we may take an extra 12 days to determine. And what do you think happens during that 12 days? What do you think happens? These elections have to be decided by 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock on Tuesday night. Yep. Bunch of crooked people. These are crooked people. You know, in California, they just signed a bill that if you're an official or anybody, you're not even allowed to ask anybody for their voter ID. And if you do, you've created a criminal act or something. I mean, they only do that because they want to cheat. What the hell are they doing? California. The whole world is laughing at us. They're laughing at us. You know what? And if nothing comes out of this whole thing, it's going to teach you damn well better get a different system. Now, these bloodsuckers up there, they do nothing about it. What a shame. What a shame. That's why the world laughs at us. They all have elections. You know, France had crooked elections because they had paper ballots years ago, and they switched. And now they have paper ballots. And at 9 o'clock in the evening, they called the winner, they called the loser, everyone home, everybody was fine. They had voter ID, they had paper ballots, they had 1 day election. At 9 o'clock, it was over. They called the winner, they called the loser, everyone went home. Now they say, well, wait till the next time. We got to get smart as a country. This is just one thing. It's all corrupt. She's corrupt. She's a corrupt person. I'm running against a totally corrupt person. Not corrupt. And I'm really not running against her. I'm running against a corrupt machine called the Democrat Party. It's totally a corrupt party. Guys like Adam Shifty Schiff, these are corrupt people. And to think he'll probably be a senator, can you believe it? Watermelon head. No, he's a watermelon head. He's got the smallest dick I've ever seen. That enlarged watermelon head. What an ugly guy, both inside and out. But it's now or never. This is it. This is the moment. We've been waiting 9 years for this, and we got 2 days, and we got all this crap going on with the press and with the fake stuff and fake polls. And by the way, the polls are just as corrupt as some of the writers back there. They can make those polls sing. They can make them sing. They brag about it. I got a poll. I'm 10 points up in Iowa. One of my enemies just puts out a poll. I'm 3 down. Joni Ernst called me. Everyone's called me. They said, you're killing in Iowa. The farmers love me and I love them. But they came up. They just announced a fake poll. Hey, think of it. Right before the election that I'm 3 points down. I'm not down in Iowa. I got $28 billion for the farmers. Yep. $28 billion. Nobody else would have gotten 10 cents. Joe would sleep. He would. Do you think he thinks about the farmers? And you know who gave me the $28 billion for the farmers? China. Because China's hurt our farmers. And then they tell me I'm down in Iowa. I don't think so. And you know what? A good poll, Emerson, no friend of mine, they said that poll is wrong. Everybody said, why do they announce a poll that's highly skewed toward Democrats and liberals? Why do they do that? When you read it, they interviewed far more Democrats than they did Republicans. Why did they do that? Why did they do that? And I guess there's a law that they have to say that because they would have preferred not having to say that. Our country is a crooked country, okay? It's a crooked country, and we're going to make it straight. We're going to make it straight, and it's not an easy thing to do. Put you in jail because you want to make it straight. Think of it. Think of it. They cheated elections, and you call them on it, and they want to put you in jail. Think about it. It's the most incredible thing I've ever seen, but I love it. You know why? Because we've proven something, we've shown something, and we're going to get it fixed, and we got to win this election. It's all up to now. I mean, we got 2 days. We've been working for 9 years. We did a great job. We had the best economy ever. We had the wall. We had everything. I built over 500 miles of wall. They don't even talk about the wall. But we had the best border, the safest border. I won't pull down my world's favorite chart because I don't want to waste a lot of your time. But my world's favorite chart done by the Border Patrol. It said we had the safest border in the history of our country the day that I left. I shouldn't have left. I mean, honestly, because we did so well. We had such a great. So now, I mean, every polling booth has hundreds of lawyers standing there. It's all about the lawyers. Everybody's standing at the lawyers. Nobody should have that. You should have a damn ballot and you hand it in. You know that in Arizona, where I'm winning by a lot, but it takes 4 hours to fill out the ballot. They've got page after page, and people are complaining they don't have time. It takes 4 hours to fill it out. Why is that? Why is that? I can tell you why. But so many places, Pennsylvania, I love Pennsylvania. I went to school here. I think the people are right here.
Yeah. 川普的总统校在宾大，就是在这不远1个小时的地方。
哇，对。
But they found, as I understand it, I mean, I don't know what's happened in the last day or so, but they, in Lancaster, they found 2,600 ballots, all done by the same hand. The same exact penmanship, the same hand, the same everything. It was all done by the same pen, the exact same pen. And then they go and they say, well, this is a conspiracy theorist. It's a terrible thing that's happened to our country. And the whole world watches it, even third world countries. I was telling a friend came in last night. He comes from a country, works there a lot, comes from, knows it. And it's not a great country, to be honest with you. They take our fingerprint and they check our fingerprints. We can't get away with anything. This is a third world country. In our country, think of it. You are not allowed to even ask for somebody's voter ID. And if you do ask, I think they have the right to put you in jail. Not the one that's cheating, the one that's asking. I want honesty. Oh, let's go to jail. It's a terrible thing. And I tell you what, I love being off these stupid teleprompters because the truth comes out. And at least you find out that it's nice to have a president that doesn't have to use teleprompters. Do you ever see her? And I'm being nasty to her because you know what? She's really bad. She shouldn't have been chosen. She got no votes. This is supposed to be a democracy. You could call it a republic. People say, "Oh, it's a republic." Okay, whatever you want to call it, it's supposed to be fair. And they ripped the election away from this poor, stupid guy. They ripped it away like candy from a baby. It's the way you ever take candy from a baby? Hello, John, give me that candy. Just give it to me. You take it, you rip it right out of the baby's. This is what happened here. Deal, and I think at some point it's got to be changed.
娜姐，娜姐，我在想，这个可能因为现在可能要讲1个小时，那么大家都可以在上网再看，比如Trump Rally Pennsylvania，在兰卡斯特一个小机场附近。
那你说就我们结束连线吗？
对，对，我在想，因为可能都差不多了，因为或者后来快结束的时候，我再跟你连线一下，好吧？
那我们没有要，如果干嘛的话呢，我们就直播就关掉，不能够再然后再那个嘛了。哎，我倒有一个想法，稍等一下啊。
你说，好的。
And he doesn't have to look like normal people. Normal people have to rip them apart to figure out what's going on. That's normal excellence. He goes like this. The machine is. Oh.
我呢，现在要找到这个我找到这个呢，来，好。行，我呢先我先接上这个川普的这个演讲，然后你就退出哈，然后回头再进来。
好的，对，好的，对，正好主意，你现在把它找到那以后，
我现在找到了一个川普的这个演讲，对，你就可以退出了。
So he looks. And he actually made the statement. He said, look, computers are great for sending rockets up and everything else, but there should never be machines used. You're not allowed to. He should be paper, ballots, put in box.
好的，那我先离开。
ID, also identification for the country. In other words, little questions like, are you a citizen of the United States? These are little questions. These aren't big questions. Excuse me, ma'am, are you a citizen of the United States? No, I'm not. You're not allowed to ask. Oh, what city do you live in? It's none of your business. I'm voting. Do you understand? Now, if you show up in a suit and tie, they say, we don't want this guy voting. You got to see what they do. I mean, what they do is so sad. But Elon is a total pro. And I saw his mother, the most elegant woman. I said, Elon, she produced you. Well, she produced one hell of a smart guy. But did you see his mother with a beautiful white hair? She looked like total royalty. And she said she went, I think, to New York. And she pulls out identification. No, I don't need that, ma'am. Oh, of course you do. It's she wanted to give it. They didn't want it. And she said, very interesting. She was interviewed just yesterday. A very smart woman, produced a lot of smart kids too, not just Elon, a lot of smart kids. And she was amazed. She left there. They didn't want any information. They didn't want her ID. They didn't want identification. And she said, that's a strange thing. I've been in many countries and they always want your identification. So, look, we have a country with a massive headache, and it would go a lot longer than headache. It would be a much stronger word than the word headache. And we have to solve this problem because we have a mess on our hands. We got a bunch of cheaters that all they do is think about how they can cheat. Think of this. When I run this election, we have meetings with Susie and Chris and all professionals, respected people, a lot of people. And we talk about strategy like, what do you think we're going to say? Or where are we going to hold a rally? And how much are things going to cost? And what are we doing? In other words, normal. When they meet to find out how can they cheat. And when you think of it, they have to. Because who wants to have policies of open borders where anybody in the world can come in
where you can, and by the way, 90% of the Democrats, not the sleazebags like Schiff and Schumer and crazy Nancy Pelosi, Pocahontas, not those people, but the people that vote, the real Democrats, they actually tell me all the time, I don't know why the hell we can't have voter ID. The real Democrats want to have things like voter ID. They know it's crooked. There's only one reason you don't want voter ID. There's only one reason, and that's to cheat. There is no other reason. There's no other reason. And they do cheat. Isn't this better than my speech? No, because honestly, somebody's got to talk about it. They say, sir, I'd rather have you not talk about it. We have a certain network. Oh, if you even mention the fact that there's cheating in elections, they turn you off. I mean, this is supposed to be one of our brave, very brave networks. I won't mention which, but you can imagine. It's one thing when CNN and MSNBC, crooked as hell. Look at CBS. Look what CBS did. They took this person who's a low IQ person. They took her, they interviewed her, and the main question they asked her, she gave an answer that was absolutely insane. It was a pile of words taken, mixed up, and thrown onto a board. It was the craziest freaking answer I've ever seen. And CBS, who's licensed for free, they don't pay anything, by the federal government. Why aren't these licenses bid out? Why aren't they worth billions of dollars? All they're supposed to do is be honest. So CBS, now their main.
不知道为什么，为什么？
And it was fine, I mean, they ask you a question, it's very simple. They ask you a question and you give them an answer. If you're intelligent, but she's not an intelligent person. She was not a good student. She was a horrible student. She didn't pass her bar exam. I mean, I know a lot of people, they didn't pass it, but that's okay. But she didn't pass it, but she was a horrible student. She's not a smart person. We're dealing against the roughest, toughest, smartest. Oh, the press goes crazy. If I say President Xi of China is a brilliant man, they go crazy. He called him brilliant. Well, he runs 1.4 billion people with an iron fist. Yeah, I'd say he's brilliant. That doesn't mean he's a good person. I happen to think, what he did with COVID was, I called that along. I said it came from the Wuhan lab, and people have a lot of different theories on it. I happen to think it was gross incompetence. The doctor came out of the lab. He had lunch with his girlfriend. She caught it. He caught it. They caught it. Everybody started dying all over the place. And they suffered plenty. But these people are very smart, and they're at the top of their game. Top of their game. We have a man that he can't find the stairs off a platform, right? No, he's guiding us. And, we have a problem. We don't have a global warming problem. They don't use that term anymore anyway, because as you can see, the planet, it's very cool out here today, isn't it? Oh, they go crazy when I say it. But it's not global warming, because at certain points it starts to cool a little bit, like now, but like this period. And they're getting killed with global. So they changed it. You know what the term is? Climate change. This way, if it gets warmer, it's fine. If it gets cooler, if it rains, if snow comes down in the middle of the summer, it's climate change, I mean, we have a girl, not a smart girl either. She's not smart. She's got a good shtick, but she's not smart. AOC +3. Do you remember how this whole hoax started? She came down and she started screaming at senators that have been there for 30 years, Democrats, and they were totally afraid of her. They're less afraid of her now, but half of them are gonzo. And we've spent trillions and trillions of dollars on things that, you know, putting windmills all over these magnificent plains and fields and valleys and oceans. And then they had one whale in, I think, 50 years come up. And then last year, they had like 18 of them wash ashore, die. And it's all a big hoax. So many things. So this is just like, we're talking about a history lesson. It's just, to me, it's more interesting than the speech that you've heard approximately 900 times, because I've been saying the same thing. You know, with a speech, I mean, I have beautiful, oh, it's so beautiful, but it's true. But it's basically the same thing. We have bad borders, and they don't do anything about them. But they're not only bad, they're open. And they do no vetting. This moron does no vetting. And she's the border czar. The border czar. But then she said, I'm not the border czar. Don't ever call me the border czar. Yeah, well, she is a liar. You're right about that. But for different reasons. So don't call her the border czar, but she was appointed to head the border. Now, the Border Patrol last week gave me the strongest endorsement anybody's ever given me, I think. They actually called me the greatest president in the history of our country. I said, does that include Abraham Lincoln? Does that include Abraham Lincoln and George Washington? They said, actually, it does. So anyway, so they like me. But they said the best border president. They said Tom Homan, one of the top guys, he said he's the greatest president we've had. We had the best border that we've had in recorded history. I mean, it was good. And I took over a mess, because I took over the mess that Barack Hussein Obama and this who's a big divider, who's a major divider, and he's a major troublemaker, okay? And, you know, I've always treated his wife with respect, just one of those things. But I've always treated his wife with great respect. But she came at me the other day. That's not nice of her to do. And I think we're going to start having a little fun with Michelle. I think we're going to have a little fun with Michelle. But I always treated her with a lot of respect. And we just have to know, look, so we have a very divided country. And you really have, look, anybody that wants to have open borders for 13,099 murders to come in over the last 3 years, for 16,000 of the worst drug lords and drug sellers to come into our country. And you know what they do? They tell them, if you ever come back, we'll kill you. So they don't want to leave. We're going to get them out because they're going back because, you know, see, our country is stupid enough. Our country is stupid enough that we give them massive amounts of, they call it aid, but we give them massive amounts of aid. You know where the aid goes? Into the dictator's pocket for the most part. But we give massive amounts of aid. So I told them, I said, if you don't stop behaving, I'm going to end up taking away all that aid. You're never going to see any aid. And they were so good after that. They were so good. But for the sake of your family and your country and for the sake of your freedom, you've got to get out and vote. You got to get these lunatics out of there. You got to go. With your help, we're going to defeat Kamala. I don't even use her last name. Nobody knows who the hell I'm talking about when I say Harris. How is Harris doing? Who the hell is Harris, everybody? Even people that are, you know, look at all the people we have here. Look at over there. They're all over the place. You know, it's a little strange. I'm a pretty smart guy. I have genetic. Do you believe in genetics? I do, you know. Fast racehorses produce fast racehorses, whether you like it or not. And but I'm a very I believe in it, and like I'm smart. I tell the story. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. He said brilliant. Well, probably brilliant, but no. And we do the weave, right? This is a weave today. They'll say, and this is a very important lesson because I'm trying to tell you what's happening with our country. It's going bad. And it can never get fixed because we're never going to get the right people in because of what they do with the elections. We're going to get a bunch of crooks and horrible people. And not dumb people, by the way, you know. She's a dumb person, but the party, but she's not going to run. She's a vessel. She's a vessel, and she's just a vessel. They didn't want him, and then they found out he's perfect. He's perfect because he didn't know what the hell he was doing. They got away. But this is a group of people, large group of people, larger than people think, but it's a very demonic party. It's become that way. The people aren't. The people, Democrats, regular Democrats aren't. Most of them agree with what I'm saying. But it's very, but we do need people to say it, and we have to have it. And if it's not said, and then they're going to fight over it, they're going to call you a horrible person and all of the things that they call you, conspiracy theorist. He's a conspiracy theorist. They don't tell you that they cheated. Think of it. They spied on my campaign, and they refused to even acknowledge it to this day. But people acknowledge it. But look at all of the things, the Mueller report, they said Russia, Trump's involved with Russia. I don't know a damn thing about Russia. Trump is involved with Russia. It was made up. You know what that was? That was an excuse for why crooked Hillary Clinton, and she is crooked as hell. And now that Joe Biden has been taken out by his party of politics, I can start using the word crooked back to Hillary. I can put it back. You know, I took it off a couple of years ago because I figured she was finished. But actually, I see her talking so much. She's got major Trump derangement syndrome. They were going to operate to see if they could fix it, but it was so severe that the doctor said it would be a waste of a surgeon's time. No, but you like to have smart, and you know, somebody said, is it true that your uncle is Dr. John Trump of MIT? I said, yes, it is. Do you know my uncle was the longest serving professor in the history of MIT? Like, I think 41 years or something, 39, 41. And there's something nice about that. And I'm just looking here and I'm watching, and this has nothing to do with corruption, but it has to do with a little bit intelligence. And I have a piece of glass over here, and I don't have a piece of glass there. And I have this piece of glass here, but all we have really over here is the fake news, right? And to get me, somebody would have to shoot through the fake news. And I don't mind that so much because I don't mind. I don't mind that. So I have a piece of glass here. And the problem with that glass is I don't look great on television when you have a 4-inch piece of glass that a howitzer can't go through. No, when you see yourself on television, you say, boy, you're really not very recognizable, to be honest with you, which is good. But here's the problem. So I have glass here, I have glass here. Now I'm not worried about this. Look, what do I have? A couple of people, and they're friends generally. There are a couple of people I don't like in that group, but that's like, no, but look at it. Look at it. I have nobody here. What do I need this piece? But where I think I do need a piece is here. And I think, no, I'm a very smart person. You know, they refused it. You know, now they are saying, that was the most brilliant speech. They're saying, it's a weave, you go. And then you're here. And then what happens is while you're here, there's a point having to do with that point, and you go wing, wing. Then you come here, then you do another weave, and it's very complex, but then it gets very simple because it all comes brilliantly and beautifully together. And they actually acknowledge this total genius there. They don't, not all of them do. Most of them are failed writers. They're not even good writers, okay? They're bad writers. So they don't understand the weave. They'll never be able to do it. But here's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at cameras. The problem is when you watch me tonight, you'll say, the president doesn't look that good. Well, how the hell do you look good?
不知道为什么又断掉了，要重新来设，重新来分享，
So just to finish up with the list, because I don't want to waste a lot of time on the list, but it does seem sort of ridiculous, doesn't it? I don't need a piece here, fellas. I need a piece here. I need a piece. I'm not worried about these people. Maybe David. I'm worried about that. I don't need pieces. You know where I need a piece? Right there. Look, I got farmhouses. I got all sorts of see the guy up in the window back there? Has anybody inspected that? No, it's the whole thing. It's okay. It's okay. But it would be nice to have, I'm trying to make a point and I'm trying to sell something. I'm telling the people that our leadership is grossly incompetent, that we're being ripped off by every country in the world, including our so-called friends. Our friends are far worse in many ways in terms of trade. The European nations are just ripping us to shreds. Everyone says, oh, it's so nice. The European nations, they're very tough. They're very, very tough. With trade, they don't take our cars. They don't take our farm products. They don't take anything, but they give us their Mercedes. They say BMWs, their Volkswagen, millions and millions. I said to Angela Merkel 3 years ago, I said, Angela, how many Chevrolets do we have in Berlin? Why, I don't believe you have any. I said, you're right about that, Angela. You think that's fair? So, they're ripping us off. The whole world is ripping us off, and we stopped it. And we stopped it, and we took a lot of heat. I lost a little chunk of ear over it. Okay. And they weren't happy with that. That wasn't good enough. That was not good. But I'll tell you what, we got to be fair. Europe we have a $300 billion deficit with Europe. Why do we have a deficit like that? And we were fixing it all. It was beautiful. Then we had a very unfortunate thing happened. I got more votes than any president, any sitting president in the history of our country. I got more votes, almost 75 million votes. That's the votes that they talk about. That's not the votes that nobody knows. Actually, nobody has any idea. You got these machines that, it's broken. We think we might have paper ballot backup. Oh, we don't have the backup. Oh, wow. They have no idea how many. They have no idea how many votes. But according to their stats, I got like 10 or 12 million more votes than I got the first time. Barack Hussein Obama, a terrible president, by the way, a terrible president, terrible. The worst on trade. He'd go in, the Germans loved him. You know why? Because they ate our lunch. I mean, it was the craziest thing. The Germans would love him. They didn't love me, and I have heritage there, to put it mildly. They didn't love me because I said, you got to pay. I said to Angela, you haven't paid, Angela. No, Donald, we think we will start by 2035, she told me. Oh, thank you, Angela. I really appreciate it. 2035. This was 4 years ago. Oh, she's going to pay by 2035. Think of it. And they think we're stupid people. So we got to get our country straightened out or we're not going to have a country. All right. That's all. And you have a chance in 2 days. And if you don't vote, you're stupid. You're stupid. 4 years of Kamala Harris have delivered nothing but economic hell for American workers. Her inflation disaster has made life unaffordable and cost families over $30,000. Think of it, 30,000. You know why? Because of inflation, the higher prices. You can't afford it. Bacon, sausages, eggs, apples. You know, when people talk to me, and I talk to as many people as I can because they know more than our genius experts who are bullshit. Okay. You go to the little lady that's buying 3 apples, goes to the counter, and then realizes the price has gone up by 40% and she can only afford 2 apples. And she walks an apple back and she walks out with 2 apples. She understands very well. And that should never happen in our country. That happens a lot. They go in and they buy 2 bananas, and this should never be happening in our country. And it's happening because we have both corrupt and stupid leaders. You have combinations of stupidity, and sometimes it overflows. But you have some very stupid people in this country, and you also have some very, very corrupt people that benefit by this. They benefit by letting China rip us off. You know, I took in hundreds of billions of dollars in taxes and tariffs from China. And I'm the only one that ever did it. They've been ripping us off for years. We rebuilt their military. I mean, we're losing, now we're losing numbers that nobody even believes, but we lose to China $500 billion a year. When I came in, it was $509 billion. That was the deficit with China. We were losing numbers that were not even, now it's over $1 trillion we give them. And then you wonder, gee, they're building a lot of ships, a lot of planes. Most beautiful plane that I've ever seen is the F-22, but we don't make it anymore because it's too expensive. And you know what? You know who makes it? I saw it. I said, of course you make it. I saw one the other day. Sir, that was made by China. They copied the sucker. I mean, we don't make it. We don't make it. We got to get smart. We got to get smart. Just this week, we had the worst jobs report in modern history. This was done by sleepy/crooked Joe Biden and Kamala. You know, who knows with her? Nobody even knows. You know, we like to say, oh, I don't know if she probably wasn't too involved in it because she wasn't involved in anything. She's lazy as hell. But, you know, they all say, sir, make sure that you only say Kamala. Well, you know, it's probably him more. But she was there. If she was any good, she would have said, Joe, you got a mental problem. You don't have any more. Let me handle things, Joe. Let me handle things. You're out of it, Joe. She didn't say, she said just the opposite. I've never seen there was never an indication that he's mentally shot. I've never seen anything. She's lying. You saw that with the debate. Even I had a thing. I wasn't going to look at him. And I finally had to go like, what? I had to look. I just had to. I couldn't hold it. I looked. I said, what the hell is going on over there? But he had a bad debate. But, you know, that's okay. You can't take it away. You have to go through a process. You can't just say, you're out of here, Joe. You're out. That's what they did. After the debate, they went and they just took it away. You can't do that. But we have, and these numbers that I'm going to tell you are the worst. This is like a depression. And they're devastated. They don't want to talk about it because, you know, they've had a couple of things happen that are incredible. One of the things is that these numbers were announced yesterday, and they thought they were going to be able to hold them till after the election, because these numbers would not allow anybody to vote for a woman of not high intelligence, to put it mildly. I'm being extremely nice when I say it that way. These numbers are depression-style numbers. I mean, not recession. These aren't recessionary numbers. And I know a lot about this stuff. I was a wonderful, wonderful student at the Wharton School of Finance. I did great. Made a lot of money, a lot. I made so much money. It's crazy. And made a lot of money, and I understand money, and I don't say that's, it's been something that works for me. And other people have other abilities, but I know this stuff. It's sort of easy for me. And our country's in financial trouble. We could have a depression. And this was just announced, and they're devastated. I know a lot of people in the White House, they're devastated that these numbers came out. They did another thing that's sort of related. 2.5 months ago, they said they had 818,000. That's a lot. 800, almost a million. 800 exactly, and 18,000 new jobs. And you know what? You know what? It was a fraud. They had no new jobs. And then just last month, they said they had 112,000 new jobs, and that was corrected and revised. But they thought that all of this would be revised right after the election. They were having a hard time holding it in because people know you have a lot of good people in our country, and they know what's going on, and they're working in statistics departments and different departments. They see what's going on. You can't really hide it if you have honest people. And we had people that came out and said, a whistleblower, I assume it was, and he came out and said that the almost 1 million jobs that they added fraudulently into our employment numbers were fake. They're fake. And the press barely reported it because they're fake. They're worse than the politics. Honestly, they're worse than the politicians. They're worse than the politicians, and they're being caught. That's why their approval ratings are so low. They're being caught. I think it was a great thing I did for the country, because I don't think before I came along, nobody talked this way. But they're fake. And we need a fair press. And we don't need a ruthless press. We need a fair press. And sometimes that will be ruthless. But they didn't report this or barely reported it. So they fraudulently put in fake job numbers. And the information was supposed to come out after the election. In other words, anytime after 3 days from now, because then it wouldn't have mattered too much to them. And a whistleblower blew it up and released the information. And I want to just tell you that what they've done, so you add the 112,000, so you're talking about almost 1 million jobs were fake. Now, here's the difference. If they had those 1 million jobs, you would have said they did a nice job. Not great, by the way, because you're starting from a depression base. You're starting from where these numbers are, where the real numbers are that just got released yesterday. Also, they wanted to hold these numbers till after, because these numbers are worse than the 818,000 fraudulent job numbers. With only 12,000 jobs were created. That's a depression. Listen to this. 30,000 private sector jobs were killed in a single month, and nearly 100,000 manufacturing jobs were wiped out since the beginning of the year. 100. Those are sort of our prime jobs, I think. We got a lot of prime jobs, but manufacturing, that's where you make money for the country. You make product, you sell the product to other countries. We lost a lot. We've been losing so much. But these are depression type numbers, and that's where we're heading. And I always said, I don't want to be Herbert Hoover. People tell me, what would you like? I said, the one thing I don't want to be Herbert Hoover, because he was the president when the Depression came.
好像每隔一段时间就会出现问题，是不是流量不够还是怎么样？然后我们就要重新来设置。
He didn't reveal it. He would have revealed it. He wouldn't have let me get away with it. He wouldn't have let me get away with it because it's so terrible for our country. But this senator that you have, he's been there a long time. And you know, it's funny when somebody's there. I told that to David. They're hard to beat. These guys have been there forever. They're survivors. That's what they're good at. They survive. They're not good senators, but they survive. They're genius at survival. They could be bad senators, and they're there for 25 years. His father was there for 25 years or something. They're not easy to beat, but you got a man here. He's a great guy, and he should be. He's a hero in many ways. Thank you. Thank you. So we got to win. I don't think there's much of a choice. I really don't believe we have a country. Those numbers, and I cut down on a lot of them, but think of that. Almost 100% of the jobs that were created went to illegal aliens, or the new term is illegal migrants. There's no nice term. Some people say, don't use illegal aliens. Oh, what should I use? Migrant. Oh, okay. They're illegal migrants. I think personally, I think the word alien is nicer, you know, but what do I know about things like this? But when you think about it, and let me just tell you one further fact, and then we're going to finish up. And I'll only do this speech once. I'm not going to do this speech again because there's no reason to. I have 3 or 4 rallies today. I have 4 tomorrow. I think I've done. Look, we had the greatest rallies in history. There's never been rallies like this. Look at the people. As far, look at it. We love you just as much as these people. I love you more than these people, okay? No, look, it goes back as far as the eye can see. It's never been that. I actually joke. I tell my people, I have very good people. Then I tell them, in 4 years, you'll be representing a hot candidate, and he's going to come to this beautiful part of the Commonwealth, and he's going to have an audience of 250 people, right? Remember Biden? He couldn't, you know, he had the circles because of COVID. I don't know, that's crazy. The only thing good was, I really thought the guy who did those circles was very talented, because I'm a very good builder, and he did perfect circles. In fact, I wanted his name in case I wanted to do some, he's a very good painter, but he had 8 circles. He couldn't fill them. He had to use fake news to fill them. They were sitting there. He would have a rally and nobody would show up. And I'd have a rally like in Arizona and 48,000 people show up. He comes in the next day. He literally couldn't fill the circles. And yet he had more votes than me. He had more votes. And he's a brilliant guy. You know, he worked out of his basement. He never went out. He never talked to anybody. He never talked to anybody. No, this is an unbelievably, and look what happens. Ukraine would have never happened if I were president. Putin wouldn't have played. Putin didn't play around with me. Let me tell you right now. And I'm the one that brought up Nord Stream. So the largest pipeline in the entire world was being built by Russia. And I found out about it. Nobody ever heard. Even the politicians didn't know. It's called Nord Stream 2. And I said to them, having to do with NATO, where we got ripped off until I came. I'm like, you know what? They spent hundreds of billions of dollars after I left. They paid hundreds of billions of dollars, but they're building Nord Stream, the largest pipeline in the world, from Russia to Germany, and then branching out all over Europe. And I said, you mean so, Angela? So what we're doing is, let me get this straight. We're protecting Germany and all of Europe from Russia. We're taking a deficit. We're paying almost 100% of NATO, by the way. We stopped that quickly. But we're paying all this money to protect you. And yet you're paying the person and the group that we're protecting you from $2 billion, $3 billion, and $4 billion a month, right? This isn't working, Angela. Not for me, it's not. And we had a big meeting, all the leaders of NATO. And they said to me, sir, because they used to say, you know, my biggest fan is Stoltenberg, the Secretary General of NATO. He just left. He was a good man. He was there for a long time. He said Trump was unbelievable. When Obama would come in, he'd make a speech and he'd leave. Bush came in, he made a speech and he'd leave. All the other ones, they'd come in, they'd send their people, they'd make a speech and they'd leave. Trump came in, he said, whoa, I don't want to make a speech. I want to look at the books. I looked at the books and I realized that we were paying 100% or close to 100% of NATO. And I said, it's no good. It's no good. And then they had a big meeting because of that. And at the meeting, they had 28 countries, including us at the time. And the meeting was amazing. And the head of a major country stood up. Sir, does this mean that if we don't pay up, you will not protect us from Russia in case they get aggressive? I said, does that mean that you're delinquent? You mean you haven't paid? In other words, you're delinquent, right? I never heard that term, sir. That's an old real estate term. You're delinquent. He said, yes, we're delinquent. He said, if you're delinquent, if you haven't paid, I would not protect you under any circumstances from Russia. And the next day, you know, only a few countries were paid up. Most of them were delinquent. The next day, billions and billions of dollars came flowing in. They came flowing in. They don't write about it too much. But Stoltenberg said Trump did something I never believed because he was there for a long time. He said for years and years, decades, nobody would pay because the United States would always be there to pick up the tab because we're run by stupid people. And so that was it. But we'll make America wealthy again and we'll make America affordable again. And we're 2 days away from the best jobs, the biggest paychecks, the brightest economic future, despite where we start from. It's so depressing when you look at what's going on. If my opponent knew how to fix the economy, she would have done it. And I say all the time during the debate with her, I had a debate. I debated 3 people. It was 3-on-1. I debated Pretty Boy, who's not actually as good looking as he looks on television. In person, he's really not that great looking. But I debated him and some woman that they say, oh, I have no idea who the hell she is. All I know is they interrupted me every time I said, crime is at an all-time high. David Muir goes, it is not. See what they're doing? See that horn over there? They put that horn up. You hear that? It's right in the field where you might have a sniper. See, that's, and I have no glass here. Yeah, I have no, I have glass here. There's nothing over there. They're my glass. See, those people are my glass. I'm hearing that horn. That could be any minute now. They're getting ready. What the hell do I know? I must be wrong. I must be wrong. Probably it was probably Biden or the other one that said, screw him, don't give him the glass. Oh, you don't think? Let me tell you, I'll tell you what. Secret Service guys were very brave when I got shot. They stood right in the line of fire. And I don't want to speak out of school, but I can say from the time I got elected, these guys were fighting for more help, for more people like you have up there, great people, but they were fighting for more assets. They call them assets. I think it's an extremely nasty term, but that's what they were fighting for. They need more assets because we have big rallies. You know, we have 50,000. Interestingly, during the debate, she said, oh, and your debates don't really draw, and everybody leaves early. So then I go, because when somebody says something, I think you have to refute it, right? I said, no, my debates never have an empty seat, and nobody ever leaves early. Nobody has ever left early. These guys will tell you. Nobody. And I walked off, and I said, I killed her in this debate. There were 100 things, but I was debating 3 people. I wasn't debating one. 11 times or so, they said, no, that's not right. That's not right. You know, they weren't supposed to do that too, by the way. ABC, it's ABC fake news, CBS, ABC, NBC. These are, in my opinion, these are seriously corrupt people. But here's the story. So I refuted. It took only about 30 seconds. I said, no, my rallies are the biggest and nobody ever leaves. And not only are they the biggest, they're hundreds of times bigger than anybody else. The other night in Milwaukee, that arena was here, the Wall. Mr. Wall, would you please stand up? This guy, he was there. You know, this guy's a very successful guy, and I think he's been to like 300 of these things. But he's great. He's a smart guy. He's made a lot of money. I don't know. He likes this better than going to see a rock concert, right? Because we do have some fun, considering we're talking about a very tough subject. It's a bad subject. It's an embarrassing subject. It's embarrassing that this could happen to our country. But in Milwaukee, they have a beautiful arena. It holds like, you know, essentially, I think it's probably a little bit larger than Madison Square Garden, but that size. And we were packed to the rafters. We could have sold it out 3 times. I wish I had the picture. I'll send you the picture, everybody that wants. And it was amazing. But there is a great spirit that this whole MAGA movement has. When Biden got up and he had that horrible scene behind him, the pink and purple, it looked like the devil. And he liked that, you know, made him look like a tough guy, you know. How do you make me look like a tough guy? And he started talking about, we will stop MAGA. We will stop. We won't let MAGA go forward. Couldn't understand. Then he couldn't find his way off the stage as usual. And I wrote him a little note. Joe, MAGA means make America great again. That's what it is. So I'm sort of finished with this whole thing, but so the fake news, some of these lame brains, I see them, I can tell you everyone up there a couple of them are good, but everyone up there, I can tell you, they're really dishonest people. I mean, real dishonest. And, you know, they call me, and when I pick up the phone by mistake, which is usually the only way they get me, but they sound so nice. It sounds like really great stuff. But let me just tell you, they'll say, some of them, that speech was rambling. That's the word they love to use, rambling. Others will say it was totally brilliant, and it was brilliant. But it's also, there was no ramble in there whatsoever, by the way, none. But you have to understand that this is something that the American public had to hear. You have to hear this. You have to go to free, strong, clear, beautiful elections. Very strong border. You cannot let criminals enter houses. We cannot accept all of the mental patients all over the world. You know, some of those mental institutions in other parts of the world, not a lot of people coming from the Congo, prisons in the Congo, they're emptying them. You know what they save by doing that? You don't have any idea what they save. They're all in our country, and the ones that aren't will be. And crime is down all over the world where they've done this. They've taken their criminals in Caracas in Venezuela, all their street crime criminals, the ones that knock the crap out of people, the ones that rob the purses and rob the stores, and they moved them here. And the fake news doesn't want to cover the story. Take a look at what's happening in Aurora and Colorado. Take a look at how horrible it. They actually took control of apartment complexes. They're in the real estate business like me. And it's happening in it's hundreds of towns and cities. It's something that is just a disgrace. But we're pleased to be joined because it's an important part of it. We have to have good people. And if David would like to come up for a second, David McCormick, he's a tremendous person. And you really should vote for him because the other guy is a total waste of time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you all for being here. We got to win this election in the Keystone State. It's a choice between strength of President Trump, fight, and the weakness of Kamala Harris. It's a choice between the common sense policies, Mr. President, that you had get our economy back on track, secure that border, open up that energy sector so we can have that beautiful, clean natural gas going around the world. Keep us peaceful through the strength you'll bring, Mr. President. So thank you. I hope to be right there with you in the Senate because I'm running against the guy. I don't know if you know this, Mr. President. He's running ads standing next to you. Bob Casey, can you believe this? Right? Can you believe it? This guy is a career politician. He was born with a silver political spoon in his mouth. We need to get rid of him, get new leadership in the Senate, make America great again, make Pennsylvania great again. Thank you, sir, for having me. All the best.
Thank you, Dave. You got to vote for him. Look at a standing ovation. Whoa. Whoa. Whoa, this could be the big day then. We finally broke loose. Good. Wow. Look at that, David. Great job. Hi, Dina. And his incredible wife who was with me in the Oval Office, and she's as smart as they come. She's a great one, great person too. Thank you, Dina. Very nice to have you. What he said is interesting because Bob Casey, a friend of mine called, very smart guy, big guy, high intellect as opposed to a lot of the people we have to deal with. He said, I didn't know that you and Bob Casey are such good friends and so close. He meant it. I said, I don't know the guy. He had nothing to do with me. He's like a stiff. He doesn't do anything. He's there. He survives. That's all. He's a genius at survival. On survival, I give him a 10. On everything else, we don't give him. But I said, why the hell do you say I'm friendly? Because there's commercials that he shows you standing with him. And I have followed the president on the wall, on the border. It sounded like maybe he was actually going to be a Republican. Was he a Republican? No, he's a Democrat. Here's a guy who's a radical left guy. And I have the same thing in Ohio. I have about 5 of them. It's actually a compliment, I guess, you know, but they're all taking out ads. Tester is getting killed. I hope. I don't know. You know, I think he's getting killed and he's fighting for his life. A young, smart guy, but they're trying to destroy that guy. If you look now, what they're doing to Tim is brutal. They're trying to destroy him on, you know, fake information and stuff. But every one of these senators in Ohio, Sherrod Brown, he's running against Bernie Moreno. Moreno's really good, and he should win. And I'm winning Ohio by a lot. And some of these states I win by a lot. This state I think I should do really well. I won it the first time. The second time I had like I think, you know, look, it's a long time, great memory. I'll give you about as close as I can get. With 73% of the vote in, I think I was up by close to 900,000 votes. In other words, it was over. And then they said, there's been a minor adjustment. And around 3:02 in the morning, they found like hundreds of thousands of ballots. So I went from 73%. I kept saying, why aren't they calling one of my favorite places, Pennsylvania? Why aren't they doing it? I'm 73% and I'm hundreds of thousands of votes up. I think I could have lost every single vote and won. Anyway, and all of a sudden they had to readjust. There was a readjustment. Oh, and that happened in other places too. You know, the reason I picked Whatley from North Carolina, because I was leading there and it went through and they tried like hell to cheat. But other places weren't as good as him. And I said, we don't need votes. We need somebody that can watch the votes and watch the steal. And he's doing a great job. But, you know, I mean, there's so many things happening in Pennsylvania. We're in court all the time. 2,600 votes. And I don't think there should be a problem. It was done by the same guy. And that guy should go to jail for a long period of time. Now, maybe he's not guilty, but you'd have to do a lot of talking, I think. And then we have other things in other counties. I know them all well. And so we'll see how it all comes out. But, you know, they're having a lot of court cases going on, and judges aren't particularly friendly. It's amazing, actually. You know, you go in with things. How about the one in Virginia? We have a really good governor that's become friends of mine. We had a great rally yesterday. How about Virginia? How about Virginia? Where they had all these votes and all the things that happened. And it turned out that these people admitted that they're not qualified. They admitted it. They said thousands of votes, thousands. We are not qualified. We are not citizens of the country. I think they admitted it, right? And the governor, Glenn Youngkin, good guy, very good guy, smart guy. He went in, they found it, you know. They didn't find it by accident. They found all these votes, and they went to the court, and the judge ruled against us. I wonder who appointed that judge. Gee, some people don't like me saying that. I wonder who appointed the judge, but the judge found that I think they said they didn't find him in time or something, you know, some crazy thing. They didn't find him in time, so therefore he can vote, even though he has no idea what the name of our country is, right? And it went to another court, and it was a failed thing too. And then the Supreme Court ruled in favor. They said, you have to be a citizen of our country. Think of that. But we caught them. We caught them. And they did a great job in Virginia. We'll see what happens. Maybe we'll win. Yeah, it's not in theory a swing state, but I'll tell you, we had a crowd. You couldn't see the end of it. So I want to also introduce, if I might, a man who's really brave. He went through hell. He got shot also, by the way. He got really shot. But he's come back, and he's a friend of mine for a long time. House Majority Leader Steve Scalise. Steve, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Steve. And what a good man he is. He took some bad. I went to the hospital to see him the night he got shot. The doctor told me he had a 15% chance. He had almost no chance, and he lived. I actually think he's better looking today than he was before. I told him, I said, you know, you're a better looking guy today than you were. But he's a great guy. He took a big hit, man. The doctor said he lost more blood than anybody that I've ever operated on or tried to save. And he said, I've been doing this for 25 years. And he lived. He lived because he's a strong person. Former Democrat, presidential candidate, somebody who's very popular, Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi? Thank you. Thank you, darling. Great. And she just turned Republican. She just turned Republican. Governor Sarah Sanders, my friend, huh? Thank you, Sarah. Arkansas, she's doing a great job. Doing a great job. A woman I have a lot of respect for. I've watched her for years. I mean, she happens to be beautiful, but I didn't watch her for that reason. I watched her because she was really a top racing NASCAR legend and did a fantastic job. Danica Patrick, she's fantastic.
有每隔大概10几20分钟就会有这样一个问题发生。
Some incredible patriots, some really brave people, actually. One has gone through hell for absolutely no reason. They came down on him. And they came down because he was honest and he was a patriot. And a tough guy, though. He could handle it very easily. Scott Perry. Scott. And another, these are great. I go to some of the states and I'm not even in love with some of the Congress people. But these guys are all good. Dan Muser is fantastic. Dan is a fantastic. He said 100% you're going to win the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. You better be right. I think he's right. Well, there's a lot of spirit here, And we even have the polls up, but I think it's much more than the polls. No, the polls, I'm telling you, you can make those suckers sing. You get the right pollster, you can do, and you really do inflict damage, when you do like this person from Iowa. Today, the election essentially is really, we're talking Turkey, comes out with a poll different from every other poll because it wasn't even in question. It's really the opposite way. I'm way up. If you look at 3-4 months ago, Dan, I was losing states that now are walks, they're now walks. And I think you could have that here. It's called suppression. They suppress, and it's actually should be illegal because it's in many ways it's worse than the written word, which these guys do quite well, actually. John Joyce is a fantastic person and a brave person. Thank you, John. The other day, I introduced at John's request the Penn State National Wrestling Championship team. And these guys came up and they were powerful as hell. They just won think of it. The coach must be unbelievable. I hear he's a great wrestler too, a fantastic wrestler, like a champion. Didn't he win the Olympics also? So this coach is something because they won 11. Think of this. They won 11 out of the last 13 years. That makes him, that's like John Wooden stuff. That's incredible. That's incredible. So congratulate him. But I did that for John and the whole group. And that's, to me, it's, I'm into sports. I love sports. When you think of 11, but I looked at these guys, I had them up. I brought them up the days the place was packed. That arena was packed. And we could have packed it 5 times if we wanted to. If we had a bigger arena, it didn't matter. But I had them up. And I'm looking at these muscles, they're bulging all over the place. They're the best wrestlers in the country, all the top champions. And many of them were the individual champions. And I said to the audience, these may be the only people in this room that could take the illegal migrants in a fight. Outside of this little group of 10 people that I have, we're in trouble. In fact, I tried to recruit them for ICE, but they have other plans. I tried to recruit them. Did you know that? I said, come on, how would you like to be a member of ICE? We need you because ICE is incredible. ICE goes into a pack of MS-13s, fists flying. I mean, somebody's got to do it. It's a nasty job, but they love it. They love the country. And Lloyd Smucker, I want to thank you very much. Great guy. These are all great. I also want to recognize our great Amish community. Where are they? The Amish community, They're a church. I love that. I trust their vote. They are the most, and you know what? They say, you tell me, this is the first time they've ever been involved. They've got on their horse and buggies, right? They don't do machinery, but they made an exception that they're able to come and they're coming to one of the rallies. And they made an exception where they can go, but they can't drive. And I'll tell you about them. I had a barn to build and I went out to bid. And I got all these crazy bids for a lot of money. And they bid for like 1/3 the price. They built a big barn, substantial, out to the cameras and as wide, almost like to the cameras and as wide. Big barn at one of my clubs. 3 days. And they didn't use nails because they're not allowed to use metal or something. Sarah, 3 days and the barn is gorgeous. I keep saying, I want to build another barn. I'll make a good deal with these. No, they came in, they took the wood from another location and the horse and buggies. And I never saw anything like it. These are unbelievable people. 3 days. Oh, is that the head of Truth? The head of Truth Social. Hey, that's a hot stock. What's going on with that stock? What the hell? Devin Nunes. You know, he was a great congressman. Everybody respected him so much, and he was tough as hell. He said, sir, you know, there was a man, they said, and this is what we need in our country. When Shifty Schiff and Crooked Hillary and all these people, this absolute sleaze, when they came up with the Russia hoax, you know, it never existed. It was supposed to be a one-day statement. That was their reason. Why did you lose? Because I was given a 3% chance of winning. And remember, as the evening went along, was that the greatest? You know what? We can have a better evening in 2 days if you get out and vote. We can have Danica. We can have a better evening. This is better than winning the Daytona. This is Daytona times 1,000. But no, we can have, but I heard there's a young congressman down in the basement of the White House. He said, who the hell is it? His name is Devin Nunes. What the hell is he doing down there? He doesn't believe the Russia story, and he's going through all of the records. He was down there for months. No, this guy is like, if he clamps in on you, you have a problem. And he went for months with a couple of your good friends, right? Lakash and some of your friends, but they spent months at the bottom of the White House and the basements of other buildings. I said, what the hell are they doing here? And then one day I made a mistake. I said, I'd like to meet him. He came up, he shook my hand, and then he went off and he went, I literally we didn't even sit down, right? But because he shook my hand, they said, he's in a conspiracy with the president. No, I didn't even know him. I had no idea who the hell he was. All I know is and he figured out the Russia thing was a total hoax. And he was the expert. And it was a total hoax. It was a made up story. And anyway, when he left Congress, I said, you know, I'm doing Truth because I had hundreds of millions of followers between Facebook, Instagram. I mean, hundreds of millions, like at the top. I had all of them, and Instagram, and all of. Nobody had what I had. I think, maybe I don't think anybody. And I went from hundreds of millions of followers to nothing. They took it away for no reason. They took it away. And I said, I have to figure this out. So I said, all right. I started doing press releases, Save America, and they were very successful, but it was a press release, but they were like hot. And we were developing this new thing. And they said, what are we going to name it? I said, and we ideally get 5 letters. And they had all these fancy names. Usually a lot of them started with an X in front because it was hot. And they couldn't come up with a name. I said, what about Truth? Sir, he didn't say this, somebody, sir, you'll never be able to get Truth. It's impossible to get Truth, sir. Why? It's very generic. It's very this. Sir, it's already taken. Why do you say? Because there's no way you could get it. It's 5 letters, right? I said, yeah, but it's 5. Sir, you won't be able to get it. Just, I'm sure it's taken. Check. Go check. Go check. Comes back 20 minutes later, sir. You just bought the name Truth for $2,000, right? What? You just bought the name Truth. Truth Social. And it's been great. But lately, it's on fire. What the hell are you doing, Devin? I made $7 billion last week. What was it up? 10 billion. No, $10 billion. So I can't get angry and say he's doing a bad job, right? I don't know, but I'm proud of you. But, you know, much more importantly, I didn't do it for the money. I did it because, think of it. This is so cool. A friend of mine said, great guy. He said, this guy, he gets banned from Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. I was on all 3. I had over 200 million, whatever the hell you call them, right? I got banned. I went from being they banned me. My enemies banned me. And this guy came up with this great theory. He said, think of it. They ban him. They disgrace him. and he has no choice. He goes and opens his own platform, and now the suckers picked up $10 billion. They forced me into building a 10 billion. I was forced, right? That's pretty cool. Who would think that way? The guy that I'm talking about is a very sick person, but he is smart. But in conclusion, I hope you've enjoyed this because I'm only doing this one. I'm only doing this one time. I'm going to promise, because I'm sure I'm very late for my next rally. I'm sure they're all waiting for me. But this is the kind of thing I should only have to say once. And when they say, he gave a long and rambling speech, no, say, it was brilliant. Please say that. Nobody else could. It was brilliant. In conclusion, with your vote on Tuesday, we are going to fire Lion Kamala, and we're going to save America. We're going to cut your taxes, end inflation, slash your prices, raise your wages, and bring thousands of factories back to America and back to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Oh, you know what's nice? Look, I'm trying to tell because these guys are so crooked. They're worse. They're worse than crooked Hillary, which is hard. But look, everybody's standing. Do you know what I mean, that's a sign of respect. Everybody's standing. So when they say he gave a long and rambling speech, let them know that before the end of the speech, by a little bit, everybody stood because they heard the truth today. They heard the truth, just like Truth Social. They heard the truth. Again, the word truth. We will build American, we will buy American, and we will hire America. We want to hire people. It's time, right? It's time to put America first, isn't it? I will end the war in Ukraine. Would have never started if I were president. It would have never, zero chance. I said, Vladimir, don't even think about it. Zero chance. I will stop the chaos in the Middle East. That would have never happened. October 7th, Iran was broke. They were stone cold broke. They had no money for Hezbollah. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for anything. They were broke. You know, in 4 years, I had no terrorism. Can you imagine? And I stopped. I had no wars also. I did, other than I inherited ISIS, and I knocked out in a short period of time, a few weeks, 100% of the ISIS caliphate. And these idiots like Kelly and Mattis and stupid Milley, he's so stupid. They said it was going to take 5 years, and I did it in a few weeks. That's why I went to Iraq. I said, General, and I met a real general, and our military is great. He knocked him. He said, sir, I'd attack him the following way. I'd attack him from the left and from the right. I'd attack him from underneath if we have to. Well, how long will it take? I'd say 4 weeks, sir. What I was told 5 years in Washington by the stupid people. Anyway, but we have real, and don't worry about them being woke. You could put them in a woke cage for 2 years and they'd come out fighting. They're not going woke. The guys, those few guys on top are woke. And by the way, every one of those guys should have been fired for what happened in Afghanistan. Every one of those guys. He doesn't fire anybody. I fire Kelly. I love firing that stupid guy. But you know what happens when you fire him? If you're me, they go out and the Times and all these people, they go, how would you like to write a book about how bad Trump is? That's what happens. When you fire people, no matter how you do it, nicely or not, when you fire them, they end up writing books and they lie in those books. They tell you, like stupid Bolton, he's one of the dumber people I met, but he was great for me because every time I walked into a foreign leader's office or the foreign leaders came to see me, including Kim Jong-un of North Korea, where you had no problem. That was supposed to be a war. You had no problem. But when I had this dumb guy, Bolton, he got Bush involved with, destroying the Middle East, right? They attacked the Middle East and spent $9 trillion, killed millions of people on both sides. Millions, because I include the other side too. Millions and millions of people. They got nothing. They came back. And I said, don't go in, but if you're going to go in, keep the oil at least. You got to keep something. They didn't keep the oil. And Iraq now has $400 billion in oil money in our banks. Can you imagine how stupid these people are? But Bolton was great. He would never talk, but he was with that stupid face and the mustache. And he'd sit back behind me. And I tell guys like Putin, listen, Vladimir, we have to do this, we have to do that. And he's looking over my shoulder at that dumb son of a bitch. He's going to say, they're going to blow the crap out of us. So he was a great guy, but ultimately he self-destructed, as many of them do. But I will prevent World War III. I know them all. We're very close to a world war right now. With these people that we have, these low IQ people that we have right now, we don't even know who it is. So Putin, he's probably saying to himself, who the hell's running that place? It's like, you know, it's the United States of America. We have other countries saying, who the hell is running the United States of America? Does anybody know? Who do we speak to? I don't think he just said Obama. That's right. No, I don't give Obama that much credit, actually, because I don't think it's Obama. No, Obama likes to play golf. He plays more golf than any human being. But we'll crush violent crime and give our police the support and protection and resources and respect that they so dearly deserve. We will strengthen and modernize our military. We'll build a missile defense shield. Why shouldn't we have one? Our technology, whether you like it or not. And it's all going to be made in the USA. It's going to be made right here, too, in the great Commonwealth. We will rebuild our cities, including our capital in Washington, D.C., which is a disgusting mess with graffiti all over that beautiful marble. Those beautiful marble columns, those magnificent columns, that's when we knew how to do things. We put them up. You almost say, how did they ever get them there before tractors, before they had Caterpillar? How did they get them there? But they were brilliant. And they have graffiti on them and lots of other things. And we're going to clean up our capital, make it beautiful, make it safe, so that when you go there, you don't get shot. So badly run. We will teach our children to love our country, to honor our history, and to always respect our great American flag. We will get critical race theory and transgender insanity the hell out of our schools and fair. And we will keep men out of women's sports. I will defend religious liberty. I will restore free speech, and I will defend the right to keep and bear arms, our Second Amendment. Is that Kelly? Is that Kelly? Hi, it's Kelly. Another great person, but doesn't matter. Right in the middle of my closing, I see somebody that I felt I had to introduce. After years of building up foreign nations, defending foreign borders and protecting foreign lands, we are finally going to build up our nation. We're going to defend our borders, and we're going to protect our citizens and our lands. We're going to protect our land. And we will stop illegal immigration and these massive numbers of killers and drug dealers that are coming into our country. We're going to stop them cold. And we want people to come into our country, but we want them to come in legally. We will not be invaded. We will not be occupied. We will not be overrun. We will not be conquered. We're being conquered, just as though it were an army. We will be a free and proud nation once again. Everyone will prosper. Every family will thrive. And every day will be filled with opportunity and hope and filled with the American dream. But for that to happen, we must defeat Kamala Harris and stop her radical left agenda. She destroyed San Francisco. We're not going to let her destroy our country. And we want a landslide that's too big to rig. And I think that can happen. I mean, I'm seeing all these close polls. Oh, he's leading by a half a point. He's leading by a point, right? I don't know. I think the enthusiasm, that's one thing. They even have the level of enthusiasm for the Trump voters is more than double the enthusiasm for this person that nobody ever heard of. You need to get out and vote. It's very simple. And again, I don't want your money. I don't want anything. I just want you to go vote. We're going to turn this thing around. For the past 9 years, we've been fighting against the most sinister and corrupt forces anywhere on earth. With your vote in this election, you can show them once and for all that this nation does not belong to them. This nation belongs to you. It does. It belongs to you. It was hardworking patriots like you who built this country. And 2 days from now, it is hardworking patriots like you who are going to save our country. After all we have been through together, we stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in American history. That's what's going to happen. You watch. It's going to happen quickly. It's going to happen very quickly. With your help from now until Election Day, we will restore America's promise and we will take back the nation that we all love. We're one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. We will never give in, we will never give up, and we will never, ever back down. We will never surrender. Together, we will fight, 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 and win, win, win. We're going to win. We're going to win. We're going to win. We're going to turn it around. We're going to turn it around, and it's going to happen fast. November 5th will be the most important day in the history of our country. And together we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you very much. God bless you. Thank you, Pennsylvania. Go vote. Thank you. God bless you all. Thank you.
哇哇哇哇哇哇哇！我们看这个我们的那个谁要不要上来了哈？那个喂
This is Gary.
，Yeah，
Please leave your message. I will call you back.
他没有那个没有听，哦，怎么回事？是想让这个 Gary 上来哈，可是 Gary 可能现在正在非常激动的在录像啊，诶，稍等一下。对，我们还有很多的朋友留言什么的哈，我们如果 Gary 上来的话，我们就再念念大家的留言。给他发信息了呀，Gary 怎么还没上来？那我们现在就看看大家的留言哈，因为我这个我不能分享了，如果我分享霸屏了呢，这个 Gary 我不知道他，那个 Gary 上来，可能我就看不到，好，那我们看一下大家的留言哈。北京人在槟城，他说：“我虽然远在马来西亚，而且也不是美国人，但我也时刻关注川普总统的动态和你们的频道，毕竟这是生死存亡的正邪之争感谢娜姐、Lucia 小严和龚小夏、李南央大姐，谢谢你们的奔走呼号谢谢我们这位朋友哈，真的远在这个世界的另一端哈，还在支持着川普总统，因为川普总统确实，如果他这个不能当选的话，这个世界走向黑暗，这一点都不夸张。有些人认为我在夸张。我之前说，如果民主党上台，就是在2020年的时候，我说，如果民主党上台，就会有几百万、上千万的非法移民进入到美国。当时人就说，那简直真是能夸张啊！哎呀，简直是了，怎么可能呢？难道美国没有边境法吗？没有法律吗？能不能这样子民主党不能这么干呢？你看看他干了没有，是吧？ 这真的今天啊，如果美国倒下的话，这个世界也不会好，而且还会有战争啊，我们的一切，我们的生命、财产，一切都完蛋啊，就是这么简单啊，所以要支持川普总统，没有投票的赶快去投票。已经 voted Trump last week and all red， 是的，我们要这个全部不只是这个选川普总统，还有全部的共和党就说有些朋友呢是就是我个人也一样，那很多在这个选票上的都不认识呀，没有了解呀一些比较小的职位不知道该怎么选呢，那么就全选共和党全选共和党。当然有一些职位呢，它是也没有这个显示出左右哈，那就不过没关系，我们就是尽最大的努力，对，请大家一定要出来投票给川普，拯救美国，我爱我的国家，美国，我爱我的下一代，我们全家已经投票给川普了，让美国再伟大。是的，真的，我们要爱这个国家。你不爱这个国家对你有什么好处呢？问题是，如果你在这里，你的房子在这里，你的事业在这里，你的孩子在这里，你当然要爱这里呀，因为如果这里没有都被他们毁掉了，那你的一切不也都毁掉了吗？对吧？你看他们现在在学校里搞的这些东西，你的孩子也有危险的，对吧？通货膨胀，你也是把你的钱都稀释了呀，对吧？一切的一切都跟你息息相关所以你不要觉得我是移民，移民又怎样？只要你的一切在这里这里发生的一切都跟你有关民主党上台。你就钱也没了这个小孩估计也被人拉去变性了，这个一切都会毁掉。如果再来一次第3次世界大战的话，我们的一切都会毁掉。谢谢2位爱国者，辛苦了，感恩，谢谢。对，特别是这个 Gary 先生他呢是昨天晚上就开车去到这个现场，因为害怕进不去嘛，因为今天是上午的这个聚会，害怕进不去，所以昨天半夜就来了。真的是非常的辛苦川普赢，川普早就赢了假媒体不报现在还没有因为必须要把票都点了，这才你公布了，这才能算赢就是说现在的预测这次都不算数的这都不算数。川普真是经历过人，造势活动，真的川普太了不起了，而且他这种意志力坚定，就是说他对这种，就是他对这个拯救美国的这样的一个事业的追求多少年了，9年、10年的时间，他是15年出来竞选。然后民主党就开始搞他的事儿了，调查他呀，监听他，监视他一切的一切，他都是就是说完全无所畏惧，绝不退缩这真的是我之前就写了一个东西，我就说这川普呢是真的是在火里面炼出来的真金这就是我们有目共睹的听友美国支持娜姐的节目，点赞，谢谢。网络很卡的感觉，是的，我不知道是为什么，不知道是我这边的网络不好呢，还是说有什么问题？总之是就是隔一段儿就会卡住，李素武的 God Bless America the USA 是的，是那位格林伍德。他写的这首歌，他唱这首歌，而且他允许川普总统在所有的场合来就是用这首歌川普真不容易还有3天就要选举，每天都跑好几场造势会太伟大了，每天看他老人家跑得这么累，心里都好难过有的时候眼泪还会流出来，怎么还会有这么多人讨厌川普？真的不理解，我也是。我觉得川普很多人说，哎呀，什么川普人品有问题呀，川普什么，总之就攻击川普，说川普。有些人说，哎呀，川普虽然川普不怎么样，或者川普也是很糟糕，但是我还是选他吧。我就想问，那川普到底他怎么糟糕了？有一个人在我的推下面就说虽然川普也有个人有很多的问题，但是呢，我还是选他。我说，哎，麻烦你告诉我一下，川普到底有什么个人的问题？ 他个人有问题。我说他个人到底有什么问题啊？我觉得这个人，真是比起来99.9%的人，他都很完美呀。你看他有这个成功的事业、幸福的家庭啊，有这么好的优秀的子女啊，教育小孩儿，这对很多人都是非常头疼的事情，那没有，都很不容易呀。他有，而且你看他这个勇敢坚定，这个有常识、有逻辑、有智慧，这个政治智慧，他这个政治智慧真的是太大了，太强了，这样的政治智慧所以一切的一切，我没看出来他到底有什么问题啊？人家民主党就上上下下的去找他的事儿弄几十个人去。就是从他从小到大的去拿着放大镜去找，看他有没有问题，结果都没问题呀，是吧？那你怎么还能够，你还要说川普有问题呢？这事实就全美国找不到比他更干净的一个人了去查他税查不到问题，查他有没有这个做错过事有没有什么一丁点儿的犯法的情况，啥都没有。现在弄出来这些全都是莫须有的罪名，对吧？你说哪里去找到这么好的一个总统呢？简直是开玩笑这人川普已经真的是太伟大的一个人我觉得非常有幸就我们非常幸运能够生活在有川普的这样的一个时代。有他真的是让我们感觉到天塌下来都有他顶着的这种感觉，上帝看了都会流泪。川爷加油！真的，川普他这样的一个努力，这样的一个信心真的是感动了多少人？像马斯克什么都是被他感动了，而且他遇到枪击子弹就从他的耳朵上擦过去都打到他的耳朵上了，这不是开玩笑。他蹲下去之后呢，他想的是赛场的观众会不会为他感到担忧，所以他站起来的时候呢，他就把这个伸直他的拳头说 fight fight fight，哇！一般人这个时候都吓坏了，哪还在想着说哇，那个观众会不会担心我我要怎么样去跟他们传达我的信息结果川普不一样，他又把他的头伸出来，把他的胳膊伸出来，那当时还是很危险你要知道，当时还是非常的危险。因为你不知道有几个枪手，所以说川普真的是勇敢智慧真的是一个天选之人谢谢娜姐和这位嘉宾辛苦了，看到这个气势，美国人肯定如愿以偿神佑护美国，保护川普，保护人民，保护自由正义。我想到了今天，好了，娜姐，咱们是不是准备一下11月5号或者6号庆功这个庆功还不行，因为有几个州已经说了，他们不会在这个投票日当天呢就宣布结果所以所以我们还要这个，就算是川普赢也不会那么的容易，就是也要经历很多的嗯想要给那个谁给那个Gary 再发个信息。也要经历很多的挫折那民主党现在做票是有这个各种各样的做票，那么我们还要经历跟他们一轮一轮的战斗可能最终才能够这个宣布川普赢。川普好辛苦，我们爱川普，川普必胜。是的，这人这么伟大，这么了不起，居然有人天天还要再诋毁他。我刚听说这个美国大选计票，机器计票投川普一票，机器自动投给贺三2票，如投川普2票，机器自动投给贺三4票。哈里斯，曲线已经慢慢抬头了，现场检察员无法当场看出来，太可怕了，很悲观，大家帮帮忙翻译成英文，转发给川普和马斯克团队，让他们注意做应对措施。对，川普呢有一个很大的一个团队呢，就是在做这样的工作可是呢，民主党这个可以说他们的这个卑鄙无耻是无所不在的。那肯定就是我是看到了有那个点击在这个投票机上点击川普 哎，不出来，不出来，不出来，点到第4、5下的时候就出来是看完了。对，这个真的是太无耻了。但是呢，没办法，这就美国就有这么一群流氓，这可以说是撒旦呐、在这里疯狂的攻击川普总统，疯狂的要偷窃这个选举那我们就是跟他们可以说是斗到底，各方面想各方面的这个应对措施。感谢嘉宾 Gary 为我们带来现场直播，实在太喜欢了。谢谢。是的，Gary 太不容易了。这4年，美国有空壳总统，你们都知道是谁这个拜登在前面做，但是他已经老年痴呆了，就后面是深层政府在控制他。谢谢，辛苦啦。昨天加州的一个绿卡朋友约我去投票川普，他说非法移民可以投票哈里斯，我们为什么不能投票？我给他讲了一个故事，一个村支部书记和一个年轻人同时偷窥女卫生间厕所普通人被定性流氓，村支书定性为检查卫生，因为法律权力掌握在他们手中。是的，这个比喻非常的好权力在他们手中，他们不会去检查自己，给自己定罪。美国真的现在哪里还是什么法治社会？美国人应该对松鼠花生实施安乐死后感到愤怒我非常愤怒我气得简直不得了这个他们把这个小松鼠，等一下我给大家这个讲讲这个事儿太令人气愤了，请大家一定要出来给川普投票。如果哈大妈胜了，我们普通工薪阶层到时候不仅要担心工作会不会失业，更高的税收和物价的飞涨，治安极度变差，晚上下班会不会被抢非遗开车的到处乱撞，到处是烧杀抢劫，生活会很快下降到极恶劣的程度。是的，这位Sunny 讲的太对了。那很多地方绝对就会发生这样的事情。其实现在有很多民主党控制的地方已经是这样子了。连马斯克他不是在旧金山有公司吗？都搬走了。旧金山还是那个什么另外一个大城市那个他的员工去上班，车子被砸呀、被抢这都经常发生。那是大白天都被砸被抢。川普第3次来到与死神擦肩而过的现场，勇敢无畏的上帝之子。这一次呢也是宾州，但不是就之前Butler 这次是这个阿米什人居住的这个叫兰切斯特。楼上的收集证据发过川普的团队吗？对，刚才那位呢要把这些最起码放到这个 X 上面，就是现在是马斯克买下的这个原来的推特 X， 然后就会很多人帮忙转发。川普没有赢，第3次世界大战就会爆发核战，太可怕了。是的，这真的这绝对不是吓唬人诸党除了投票，不可能有任何胜算。对他们如果说不投票的话，不可能有任何胜算。好商量好商量又来了娜姐好 ，Gary 好，两位辛苦啦，谢谢。好商量是每一次我们只要做节目，好商量一定来支持我们，非常感谢。这次大选就是美国的正邪大战。是的，非常同意嘉宾 Gary 昨天现场直播时说的，就意思是，如果公平选举，应该都是红州，共和党赢。所谓蓝州都是诸党早就设置好了投票系统的结果。是的，连纽约，川普去纽约，哇，那个人这个10万人没有地方站了10万人到这个现场去欢迎川普希望川普总统上台后彻底整治假媒体。是，如果这次再被偷了，我们赢了，老百姓已经把他们放在家里的家伙准备好上街讨回公道，不会让他们得逞。这4年大家都受够了。川普2024只要有正常思维的人对比一下这4年的灾难，我相信投华山的人除了坏，就是彻底被洗脑成无脑的蠢人。是的，我也真的不能理解，还有什么人去投这个女人，赢不了别人就用偷的，对他们就是这个大规模舞弊，上次就是大规模舞弊。 这个网站是介绍了霍锦丽的整个人生，不知道哪个网站哈。松鼠花生的死开始在自媒体上发酵啊，对这个花生的死，我相信很多美国人非常愤怒，不能够接受啊，这真的是太愤怒了。我看了之后，我这个人啊，我不是那种特别爱动物呀什么的这样，但是我看了这个小花生的这个视频，哇，我就觉得他们为什么要这样的，我非常的气愤。川普声音已经沙哑，还在努力不懈啊！真痛心他，希望他平平安安，身体健康啊，不要受伤。霍锦丽，霍锦丽，对，10月5号，请大家一定要站起来，来投票给川普，拯救美国，还有你们的下一代，推翻哈小三，快4年了，这个女的她为美国做了什么？有人可以告诉我吗？为什么要投票给他？请大家快醒醒吧，不要害你的下一代，投票给川普，让美国再伟大。是的，这真的是投票给他，万劫不复。不管怎么说，川普这次是真的努力了。是的，没有见过比川普这么努力的一个人啊，这么一个将近80岁的老人，你像他缺什么呢？对吧？而且他年龄这么大了啊，就说有的人说啊，那可能为了他的政治目标，天呐，他都80了，对吧？当上4年84之后，他也就这个可以说是那不可能90，他还想要再怎么样，对吧？他年龄这么大，他就是觉得自己有这样的一个责任感，上帝派他来要拯救美国，然后他选上这个万斯希望能够为万斯先打开这条路，然后呢，让万斯再接他的班。就完全是为了美国。你说他一个亿万富翁几十亿身家的一个富翁，对吧？他有什么利可图，有什么名可图？他已经是一个非常有名的人了。一般就是为了名，为了利，对吧？川普有什么？这些都根本不重要，他都有了，他名也有，利也有，什么都有啊。对呀，还为什么呢？就是为拯救美国，为了我们，为了下一代。嗯就这样，请为川普总统祷告，祷告，祷告。是的我们每一次跟我们的那个谁陶瑞先生做节目，我们都在最后做祷告，因为陶瑞先生的祷告非常有力量。声音有多沙哑了？一天跑3场 rally，2020大选最后一天还做6场 rally。躲开了多少明枪暗箭，真正的天选之子。是的，川普这9年的时间，在我们面前，我们看到的，哇，这太不容易了呀，对吧？哇，人家把他逮捕4次就把他抓起来，就是羞辱他，给他拍那个mug shot，就是那个罪犯照片真的是他就是可以说是任何东西都没有办法打倒他。川普嗓子哑了，真心疼他。我们能做的就是凝聚力量，给他传递能量。大家团结起来，投票，投票，投票。是的，一定要去投票。川普太拼了，民主党和深圳政府正在大舞弊2024重操2020模式。对，但是川普团队这次呢，就比上次呢做了更多的准备这个5号是一个重点就是后天了。他小三投票要进行时，所以他们正在投票。不要相信民调，相信我们自己看到的、听到的体验到的，相信 common sense。是的，现在突然说川普的那个民调下去啦，什么这那，不要理那些事儿，就差这个2天时间了，就是做好我们可以做的事情这个投票支持川普带朋友投票，还有就是广泛的转发川普的这些东西让动员更多的人去投票也能够给川普这个捐款的就捐一些款，因为呢钱多了就可以放广告更多。千倍万倍的小心民主党作弊愿上帝保佑正义的川普顺利进入白宫。感谢你们的阿爸父神，感谢我们的阿爸父神，一切的荣耀和赞美都归于我们的全能的父神，奉主耶稣得胜的名求，阿门。是的，太好了娜姐辛苦不辛苦，谢谢。 比起川普来不辛苦啊。诸党在众目睽睽、共和党严防死守之下，还在无死角、全方位、无系统舞弊投票。但我相信这次大选在马斯克全力以赴、选民觉醒之下，上帝之子一定能赢得大选啊！我们希望如此。阿米什人是世界上最干净的人啊！川普这次到阿米什的社区去，这个我相信对阿米什人一定是触动，就算他们不来，他们也是会知道啊，川普来拜票了。玉壶老酒给我们点赞，国旗爱心啊，这个海棠依旧啊说克鲁兹的参议院要丢了吗？不一定啊，这个都不一定啊。如果是德州的，就去支持他啊，帮助他搭票。看见摇摆州的拉锯战，真是令人寒心啊！站在食物链顶端的腐败集权人数最多一两层人，为什么还有这么多被割的韭菜还在支持哈桑政府？昨天看见的纽约被采访的几个中国大妈和大爷都是公民，都说会投给那个女的啊，是有人统一帮他们。他们自己根本不懂选举，政府福利养着一大帮愚蠢的渔民。而采访里说，投票给川普总统的小企业主都说得出理由，美国的移民政策太大道了，子女申请父母移民过来就吃福利，加上大量的非法移民危机，是的。哇，这些王八蛋哈，过来吃福利不说啊，就是想要永远的吃福利，所以他们就一直支持民主党，太可恨了。可是把这个国家吃穷了、吃垮了啊，这个罪犯满街上都是，你有什么好处呢？对吧？你也完蛋了，你也吃不上了。呼叫娜姐，请问问是克鲁兹的参议员要丢了吗？目前没有啊，目前并没有，只是说克鲁兹呢，就是出来就说呀，说他的竞选对手拿到的钱，民主党砸大钱要想把他这个位置翻蓝哈，所以呢就给他的竞选对手很多的钱，而克鲁兹的钱呢就远远没有那个家伙多，所以就是比较危险。就你钱少，你就不能够做广告嘛，对吧？不能让更多的人知道你在主张什么，所以呢确实是比较吃紧哈，大家还是可以去为他捐款。诸党这次卯足了劲要拿下德州参议院，肯定会投票推那个黑人进参院。是的，这个民主党是无所不用其极啊，所有手段，所以我们也是要支持克鲁兹德州联邦参议员克鲁兹。这是共和党，这次共和党给克鲁兹的支持远远不够。是的，因为那个老乌龟这个王八蛋，投票投票川普。是的。继续给川普总统捐款，表达对他的尊敬和支持。是的，要捐款的话，要到 donaldjtrump.com。我上两个星期前吧，捐了500块。之前也有小额的47呀，你看4747这样子一些小额的捐，大额的就最近捐了500哈。大家呢大小不限表达你的对川普的支持。今年红潮毕现立铁为证猪肩好的，这个万岁，美国万岁感谢你们这个美国国旗分享。我家人已经投票给川普，我们非常心爱我们的国家，伟大的美国，美国给了我们希望，给了我们下一代美好。是的，我们一切都已经在美国了，孩子、家庭这个事业、钱、房子什么，一切都在美国。美国如果是被他们毁了，我们一切都没了，都失去了。川普能赢克鲁兹也能赢，投川普的也一定会投克鲁兹的。应该是这样，因为小松鼠戴红帽子了。有可能不知道，有一个女白左举报，所以那些王八蛋就把他真气死我了。娜姐，我们加州已经警匪一家亲了，黑命贵，随意打人伤人，警察黑的不抓施暴人，却抓被害人，无法无天。是的， 你让这些蠢货管理国家啊，就中国人其实最了解的，什么文革时候啊，什么在之前啊，就说可以说一切都反了个儿了啊，没有道理可讲了，没有道理可讲了。那就说坏人当道，好人就被欺压啊。如果我们选上了民主党，那就是这样的下场啊。所以每个人都要知道啊，不能助纣为虐。这些吃福利的人啊，终将吃掉自己。是的，川普总统必胜。海南就是克鲁兹当过州总检察长，又当过几任参议员。如果他能够多些政绩，在德州竞选就会有选民基础，也不会全靠广告了吧？哈，这个不是这么说的呀。这问题是，对吧？你如果说你每天一打开电视就看到的都是那个家伙，那他自己的广告肯定说他自己好嘛。啊，我做了这个，我做了那个，我多好，我多好，多好，多好，而根本就没有看到另外一个这个选举人。那么这样的话呢，你印象里你就感觉说，哦，今年这个人很火啊，这个人哎而且如果这个人他说，哦，我做了某一项事情，正好你可能还比较喜欢，你就说，哦，那这个人不错，对吧？那其实克鲁兹可能做了更多更好的，克鲁兹的政绩是很多的，但是他没有机会说出来，对吧？那就有可能就有一些人，那当然知道克鲁兹的人肯定就是说不受这些影响。可是我们现在不争取的是那些中间选民吗？那些还不太了解克鲁兹的人吗？对吧？所以呢，广告是极其重要的。哪怕川普总统这么有名的，还要做广告呢，对吧？还要做广告，何况克鲁兹呢？建议川普去德州一次，川普已经去过了几次了，好像。我的房前放了支持共和党的牌子，被放火，哇，这么严重啊！嗯，这个发生于2020年10月，加州，哇，哦，好像是这位雪山飞狐啊，这位朋友哈，想要跟娜姐私信哈，那这样娜姐就把你怎么可以给我私信啊？告诉你一下。就是你要在这个对，这就是你看看这个小松鼠，哇，好可爱呀，好可爱，好可爱，嗯，你看看多可爱的一个小松鼠，我看了之后，哎，我真的是太气愤了，我说居然这么一个可爱的小松鼠被他们杀了呀，杀了呀！你也可以，你说它那个干嘛的话呢？你就把它放归森林吧，对吧？你就让它就给它放到树林里面去也可以啊。马斯克也说你就放回到这个森林里面去也可以。你为什么要把它杀了呢？为什么要杀它呢？哇，这简直是太令人气愤了！我简直是，你看这么可爱的一个小小松鼠而且人家这一家人呐、跟他已经收养他7年半了，7年半呐、这是自己家的一个孩子呀。啊，居然就让这个政府这些王八蛋就都这样收走了，就给杀了，哇，我真是气死了。你说他是招谁惹谁了呢？你像那个非法移民在街上打砸抢的这个伤害普通人的都没有被抓都给放了，这么一个可爱的小松鼠怎么就非要把它杀了呢？还有浣熊，他们家还有浣熊也被杀了。那个浣熊也是家养的浣熊，它不是说野生的那种浣熊。你像这小松鼠吧，它很小的时候呢，它妈妈被车压死了，这一家人呢就收养了它，它呢就一直在家里面生活，所以它就不会有那种很可怕的一些有可能的那些疾病哈，因为它就整天都在家里面的，都弄得很干净。你看人家这个家也是很干净的嘛，对吧？并不是说是一个脏兮兮的一个地方。你看这多干净啊，这个家，对吧？小松鼠跟他们在一起生活，多可爱呀！结果被他们，哎呀，这个小松鼠被他们给杀了，我简直是气死了。对，你看我发的我就说，我说这么一只可爱的通人性的小松鼠，一个动物小网红。对，这个小松鼠，它还不是说就是他们家的一个小宠物，它是一个网红啊，它在很多社交媒体上喜欢它的人是上百万呢，而且呢， 他呀还为这个就是因为人们喜欢他嘛，就捐款给他，捐款给他呢。然后呢，这家人呢，他们有一个动物庇护所啊，收养了300个动物，300只动物啊。然后就可以说给这些动物一个避难所，来喂它们吃啊喝呀，让它们玩儿这样子啊。就是小松鼠就可以以一己之力呀，就可以募到很多钱啊，让这个300个动物都有家可归。这是多么伟大的一个小松鼠啊！我就说，你看它可以为300只需要帮助的动物筹集资金啊，这本来是多么美丽的一段佳话，结果这个被纽约的政府不问青红皂白给杀了啊！这个小松鼠它是这对夫妻的心肝宝贝。这对夫妻人家长得也漂亮，你看看干干净净、整整齐齐的弄什么都弄得很好是人家的心肝宝贝，是家里的重要一员可是呢，居然被这些王八蛋说这样的政府真是残忍野蛮、愚蠢，真的是愚蠢、邪恶这是我发的。有很多几百个人都支持我的说法。真的是我们要为他讨回公道。真的是这个政府太邪恶了。川普总统就说，如果这个小松鼠是从什么墨西哥走线过来的，民主党就给他给他送到那个5星级酒店去给发钱了就是因为是普通美国家庭的小松鼠就要遭受这样的一个灭顶之灾简直是不能想象。这些王八蛋，我简直是气死了。那好的，还有什么？我们还有什么是没有讲？那个Gary 他上不来，可能是因为他的手机没电了因为这个他之前就跟我说，他的手机只有他早上是90%几的电，可是因为他到了现场呢，就一直拍照录像然后又跟我们这个就说连线所以可能没有电了哈，那就非常遗憾Gary 不能最后再回到我们的现场，把这个现场的一些他要想表达的表达出来那好的，那我们今天晚上还有一个节目是邀请了一位义工基督徒来给这个为川普拉票这个为川普竞选再发最后的声音，请大家来关注观看。好的，那今天节目就到这里，我们下次节目再见，感谢大家。投票一定要投票。